Black Platinos on the outside of Invictus Jet, then Manakonga.
Broadcasting live, this is the Handicappers Report, brought to you by the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany, and CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today.
Good morning and welcome to kind of a blended Handicappers Report / Racing Across America, or as I said yesterday, Racing Across North America, as we are live from Woodbine. Again, thanks to the folks at Woodbine for allowing us to use their studio yesterday and this morning as well. A little bit later on, I'm going to get into some handicapping for today's card a little bit later on, but then we'll also be joined by Ron Gierkink, who is the DRF correspondent for Woodbine, and Greg Montgomery, who we always enjoy talking to up in the press box. He does a little clocking and whatnot here at Woodbine. So should be a fun show coming up a little bit later on. And as I say, I'll do some handicapping, but we're kicking things off with another one of our friends from Woodbine, Klaus Ebner. We always enjoy coming up to Woodbine and getting hosted by the folks up here, Lindsey Bax and Klaus. Good morning.
Good morning, Seth. How are you?
Very good. Talk a little bit about from the Woodbine side of things yesterday, because from the fan side of things and from our perspective, nice that earlier in the week, it seemed like the weather was a little dicey. It turned out to be a gorgeous summer day, and the racing was great.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing we were all kind of worried about, I think whether it be us as the track as well as the handicappers and the players as well, was just how would the inner turf bounce back or be an option for everyone on a big day when we've traditionally always run on the EPK turf course. So,
which is undergoing a rehabilitation at this time, yeah.
So for us, that was the big challenge. Would our players say yes, we're going to participate in that, or be more reserved and kind of take a step back? The early part of the card was challenging. Wasn't as strong as we had thought, but certainly the last half of the card bounced back with some great racing and some great numbers.
Yeah, there's no question about it. It was a nice stakes day, winning you're in. So that was, and I had talked to Josie Carroll on the backstretch. Our Friday interviews on the backstretch, which we played yesterday, turned out to be productive. We talked to Josie and we talked to Kevin Attard. They both had stakes winners yesterday. But Josie was saying on Friday, and Kevin said it too, with the 2-year-old races going 2 turns now, it worked out well because winning you're in. If you go, you're going to Del Mar, where it's 2 turns. And we'll see an interview with Josie after the race where she, again, emphasizes that. Now they have the experience, so that's nice. Let's talk a little bit about the results from yesterday and start out in the summer. It was Argos, Flavien Prat on board, Riley Mott trained, another grade 1 for Riley. I had interviewed Riley up at Saratoga this year after his first grade 1. Now he's adding some more to the resume. It's a win in your end, so I would imagine Riley will be headed to the Breeders' Cup as well. Again, the son of Bill Mott, who was his assistant for quite a while. We're going to watch the stretch run here, and then we'll hear from Flavien Prat. I caught up with him actually in the paddock before the next race, but he talked a little bit about the win in the summer from Argos, and it was interesting. He said in the stretch he was just trying to get into the money and then realized, I have a shot to win. So again, a little brief interview that I caught up with Flavien after the race in the paddock for the next race, talking a little bit about the win by Argos in the summer.
There on the extreme outside with Argos. Argos, Wild Desert and 2 Out Hero. It's Argos in front, and Argos has just won from Wild Desert and 2 Out Hero, and back and forth Teddy's Rocket.
Nice win by Argos. You were up here middle of August for the 3rd place finish. Talk about the improvement from then to today.
Yeah, I thought that day ran a good race. I don't think the setup of the race really suited him, and today we had a better draw and going to turn, and he really ran a good race.
What did you feel down the stretch?
I thought turning for him, I thought I had a chance. At that point, I didn't know if he was going to be able to win, but I thought I had a chance. And when that horse came outside of him, he just was able to hold on.
Decent little $15.70, and nice ride by Flavia, and a couple of stakes wins for him on the day. Nice performance from Argos.
Certainly, yeah. Again, I think what we're talking about here is in terms of winning your ends. So the fact that these horses are able to navigate our turf course now, hopefully, that resonates over to Del Mar and what they're going to be able to do in the Breeders' Cup. I think the big note here for me too was the fact that Wild Desert blew the break, and that was I think almost like an ongoing trend there for the Appleby horses yesterday. Where it's like they were spotting the field sometimes 2 to 3 lengths, and I know Wild Desert came with a giant rush.
Yeah.
So if Appleby can help these horses get out of the gate faster, or a little bit more along the lines of what we do here in North America, this one could be one to watch for Breeders' Cup as well.
And again, the situation there, and I said it yesterday when I handicapped, I had a bunch of horses in my mix, including Wild Desert was in my mix. On the outside, I was a little concerned, but the first stakes race, Wild Desert, as you say, late in the stretch, you thought he might get there and winds up just a little short. The charge margin wound up to be ahead. But for folks who are maybe looking at horses on the outside, he gave you a little bit of confidence.
And I think for those of you that kind of watched the race as well, I watched the replay because I've had a really strong opinion on Frankie's horse, the other European in here. If you go back and watch the replay, this horse had a trip from hell.
Okay. The secret adversary.
This horse checked 4 times. Frankie rushed the horse on the inside, coming into the far turn, pulled him up, and it pulled her up with like the head going wildly, and then trying to make a run as well. So of all the horses I saw with treble trip, and again speaking to the EP Taylor turf course, we would see Seth in the past.
Yeah.
Well, that's a horse that probably be like Frank would be sitting chilly on, move to the outside and make that one run on the outside, but he ain't got nowhere to go. Yeah. So he's got to go to the inside, trying to make his own luck. And he just didn't have any luck that day.
So trip note there on the secret adversary, who winds up midfield, 5th in the field of 10, but with, as you say, a little bit of trouble in there. Let's take a look also at the Natalma, the other win in urine for the 2-year-olds. Both of these races, to me, had wide open fields where you could have made a case for a bunch in here. But we had talked on Friday to Josie Carroll, played the interview yesterday. Corsia Veloce, 2 for 2. To me, the price was wrong on this one. Oh, yeah. It was right if you liked the horse and played it. But this is a horse that was undefeated and a stakes winner already with a nice win in the Catch a Glimpse. If you watch the replay of that, Sweet Fusion kind of ranges up, and I thought passed in the stretch, Corsia Veloce. And so to see that one, give a gutsy performance, to wind up getting 12-1 on this horse, as I say, it seemed like the wrong price unless you had it, and then it was absolutely the right price. But you wound up with well over $20 on that one.
Yeah, for me, that was a local horse. That's I think a lot of things to like, and obviously a big tip of the cap to Fraser Abley. That's his first big win on his career, and I agree with you, Seth. I saw the numbers on Corsia Veloce, and I said, trained 85 last time out, won our prep for this. Local horse, has the inside, so tractable speed, and ran a really good race last time out in the Catch a Glimpse, which is the prep for this race. And as you said, yeah, I saw 12-1, and I was just like, okay, thanks. That's a gift.
And it helped. We'll talk in a little bit about some of the other wagers on the day, and that clearly helped those wagers with the $26.50 price. But again, it was a horse that was very havable in sequences that I thought overall were very havable and wound up paying very well. We'll talk about that in a couple. But first, I want to play the interview I did out in the winner's circle just after the race with Josie Carroll. Again, we talked to her in preview on the race on Friday, and she kind of reiterated some things yesterday after the win, including tipping her cap to Fraser Abley. So up next, right after the win in the Natalma, it's Josie Carroll.
And it's on the inside, La Coulas in the Natalma Stakes. And now Corsia Veloce plunging through in the center, and Hot Mash. And in the center, Corsia Veloce. On the inside, La Coulas. On the outer, Hot Mash. Corsia Veloce. Corsia Veloce is going to win the Natalma Stakes. Very impressively, remains undefeated. From Hot Mash, La Coulas, and out wide, a dance to the music and deep learning.
You know what, I thought young Fraser did a tremendous job with her. We talked about coming out of the one hole. He did exactly what he was asked, drift off the fence just a little bit so you don't get squeezed down in there, but don't chase her to the lead, be patient. He sat, it's the shortest way around, so he sat there patiently, found an opening, and she just did the rest.
How'd you feel down the stretch?
I was really excited. I mean, it was a really exciting moment. Something very special about this little filly.
And it's a win in your end. I'm sure you're not making the decision yet, but
You can look at Del Mar, and you said it yesterday. You have essentially the same configuration. You have to feel pretty good if you take the shot.
We do, and that's the one thing. If we had won on the outer turf, it's a different story. But this year, having shifted to the inner, we know that she can get around the turns.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Go.
So as you can see, I said to Josie, well, you probably want to wait before you make the decision. It's a win and you're in the breed. And she looked at me like, nah, I think we're going. Usually they get the trainer speak. We're going to wait and see. But I got the feeling, certainly, they'll look at the horse today and whatnot. But they're headed. And I was talking to Josie after the race and walking away from the winner's circle. She said she loves Del Mar. And if the horse does, again, they got the 2 turns that will be duplicated out at Del Mar. So you would think Corsia Veloce has a good shot of maybe going 4 for 4, including a Breeders' Cup win.
Yeah, the benefit too is this horse is a Canadian bred, so certainly some things to like.
Yeah.
And I'm always happy seeing the local get the big win on the card.
Oh, and speaking of being, an Ontario bred, that means next year maybe adds another filly to the King's Play.
Certainly, yeah.
Who,
based off that effort.
And again. One of the question marks that we asked on Friday, and we reiterated it yesterday, trying 2 turns for the first time, stretch to the mile, and seemed to do it successfully. And so it's going to be interesting to see her out at Del Mar in the Breeders' Cup. And finally, the exclamation point on the day was, of course, the Woodbine Mile. I said it when I handicapped yesterday. I was taking a little bit of a pop with Win for the Money, the Marquesi runner that was the defending champion in the Woodbine Mile. So I knew I was up against it, and I was up against it. In the stretch, it was pretty clear that Notable Speech was, as everybody kind of assumed, the one to beat, and certainly looked good and lived up to that Charlie Appleby runner. I was maybe, the last race, if you watch that one at Deauville, a second place finish with a flying effort late, but it was on a straightaway. And so I thought, maybe the 2 turns. Now, that said, had done well in the 2 turns at Del Mar last year, so it had already been proven at 2 turns. But coming off the straightaway, I was maybe taking a little shot. And as they say, mistake, as Notable Speech looked very good yesterday.
Yeah, certainly made his presence felt at the end. The ride was very good from William Buick. He's a world-class rider. I think we all know that. But the fact that he didn't start as well as the rest of his Godolphin compatriots yesterday, then he rushed up the rail, had a prime spot, and I was kind of worried for him because he was kind of hemmed in for a while there. Then as he kind of nursed the speed, as you will, on the far turn, he kind of tipped him out. And as soon as he got towards the outside, I was like, it's over. So turn for home, and then you saw the jets, and then that was it. So that European quickening, if you will, and the rest is history. That
was exactly it. You knew when it and got the momentum going. You were like, my gamble was not going to pay. Well, Win for the Money was not offering up a whole lot anyway yesterday, running 6th at 9-1. I would have liked a better price too, so I wasn't that thrilled with the price eventually on Win for the Money. But Notable Speech does very well. I know some folks like my boy Prince. Also, decent second, no threat really to the winner. The chart margin's a mile and a chart margin is a length and 3/4, 2-5 favorite. And right after the break, I did meet up with, right after the win, I did meet up with Charlie Appleby's assistant, Alex Merriam, who was over here. Obviously, Appleby not in town, so Merriam was the lead person speaking for the group. Caught up with him and just got a little bit of a comment afterwards. And I asked him, what's next? Obviously they're headed to Del Mar, winning you're in. But what was the horse going to do next? So we got a little update on that as well. So here it is, Charlie Appleby assistant, Alex Merriam, after the win by Notable Speech in the Woodbine Mile.
Now Notable Speech tearing home, and now we see just how magnificent the closing kick of Notable Speech truly is. And action speaks louder than words. Notable Speech wins the Rogers Woodbine Mile. 2 lengths to my boy Prince, Gas Me Up, and Naptown ran 4th in 1 stripe in the time of 1:35.33.
Yeah, look, we were very pleased once he got that posse down the rail. It got very tight into that first bend, but once Will was there down the rail, he was always going to be a horse that we know has got a good turn of foot. So we were fairly confident from there anyway.
I'm guessing the game plan, win and you're in, go back to Del Mar.
Yeah, that would be the plan, definitely. So,
and then what will happen in between?
He'll ship home. He ships home next week. Just leave him at home, and then he'll ship out to Del Mar end of October. So ready for Breeders' Cup.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So again, I will take the whiff there. I should have made Notable Speech a single with everybody else in the universe.
Again, I had some other options in there as well, Seth. You're not the only one. I played a little bit with the South African horse who ran okay, but that was also his first start back, I think, since December of last year. So I'm willing to give him a kind of mulligan, if you will, for that one. But yeah, I think Notable Speech. We all know the real cream of the crop rose to the top and got the win.
And off of that, we'll take some action certainly out of Delma. And again, it was interesting that they're going to head back home before coming back to the States for the Breeders' Cup. You and I were talking while that was playing, and it is notable that in the earlier stakes race, once again, I was a little bit concerned with the outside post position for Deep Learning and the Chad Brown horse. I put the horse on top. It was Chad Klarovich. And again, I'm a little bit of a homer off a big win at Saratoga, but Deep Learning 7-5. Wound up the second choice in there behind the European Dance to the Music, but winds up fifth in the field of 9 in the Natalma. And we were talking, I think you put it nicely, kind of an analogy with Superman.
Yeah. Woodbine seems to be Chad Brown's kryptonite, unfortunately. So he sends up a bunch of very, very talented horses, and yes, obviously the draw didn't help Deep Learning, but yeah, for some reason, people always say when we're talking about handicapping and such, I love Chad Brown, but when he's not running at Woodbine, and again, we love having his horses up here, but I can see the frustration probably happening. I think he's 0 for 12 in his last 12 starts here at Woodbine, so tough.
And the one we all jump off on will be the one that wins that $35. I can see that happening already in the world of horse racing. We alluded to it earlier, and again, there were some interesting plays on the day. Our man Mike Callahan, he's up here with us. Dino on the tech side. Mike came up as well. He's usually with us on the trip, and we were at dinner last night. We were commenting on the price on Corsia Veloce, $26.50, and we said the Josie Carroll horse was a crazy price. That was the race before the Woodbine Mile. Notable Speech wins at $2.80, and with a $2.80 horse and the Josie horse leading into it, Mike pulled up the PPs and showed him the chart and showed it to me, and it was a $93 double for $2. That's a nice way to, make that $2.80 balloon up exponentially.
Yeah, and honestly, I know a lot of people are doing it. If you single Notable Speech, even with the Allberger or whatever you want to do, with
at 90,
you had to hope for a bomb. And I know we had our special wagers as well. If you look at the all turf grade 1 pick 3 that we had yesterday, well, a 6-to-1 horse, 12-to-1 horse onto, odds on favorite. And it was like for $5, yes, the minimum is $5. But, if you would obviously single Notable Speech in that last leg, well, it paid almost $1,000 for $5.
Did it really? Yeah,
so, that was pretty impressive to me when I saw that. And it was like, wow. So that's fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
And then we also had that global grade 1. Obviously, we're trying some new things here at Woodbine. And that was one of the things we tried yesterday with our partners over in the UK with the St. Ledger as well as the Irish Champions. And that was an instance where you could have really keyed 3 horses and a pick 5, which is crazy.
Yeah.
You had, 3 odds-on horses winning on the day with Scandinavia, Delacroix, and then Notable Speech. And then you just had to find some meat in there, as we call it, and you had like a $315 payout for 20 cents.
Logical meat too. As you say, Scandinavia and Delacroix as the overseas runners both won at short prices, and they were early in the day. They were 10:30 and 12:30, and I think everybody was kind of like, oh boy, it's chalking out kind of. And then Argos comes in at $15, but again, playable. I know Pete Fornatale yesterday on the handicapping show liked Argos, and Corsia Veloce again at $26.50. It was just undefeated horse and a stakes winner. You put that one in, and then as you say, you get the $2.80 and Notable Speech, and that international for 20 cents, $315. That's not bad. It's not bad for 3 check marks and a couple of logical players. And the all stakes pick 5 here. Also, again, you had to have Argos at 15, but Caitlin Her Greatness, betting public jumped on her, and she lived up to it. Caitlin Her Greatness, $3.70. Corsia Veloce, $26.50. Notable Speech, $2.80. And Simcoe, who also looked very good, Top of the stretch, I thought, I might get swallowed up here, but no, kind of wouldn't let them go by at $4.60. All stakes pick five, $337 for 20 cents.
So some very good prices yesterday, despite the fact you had some heavy chalks sprinkled in there. So
yeah, if you played around a little bit trying to make those chalks a little something, you could have wound up very successful on the day. Again, it was a fun day yesterday. Always appreciate coming up here, and I will aim to you as a representative from Woodbine. We appreciate your hospitality whenever we come up here. I had a fun time. I sat in here with Jeff yesterday before the third race, and so that was fun. Mike took a picture of me out on the tote board, and the signal went out, obviously wherever the Woodbine signal went out. So that was fun to come in and do a little handicapping conversation with Jeff yesterday. Appreciate that. And as I say, appreciate the hospitality from the track.
Yeah, our pleasure. Always love having you guys up. And I know we keep saying it every year, Seth, that you guys are up here, but it's a short drive over. So anyone that wants to come out to Woodbine, let us know. Obviously, you have to have a passport and get across the border first. That's the most important part. But once you're over there and you're on the way here, we hope you have a great time.
I always say it when we're talking Woodbine. I'm in the studio in Albany from where we are. Straight shot down the thruway. You take a right at Buffalo, and you're here, and it's a lot of fun. And folks love turf racing. Normally, the two turf courses, again, not until next year do we get the main turf course back, but still some great turf racing on the inner, and it's always fun. Great facility. Hospitality is very good. So keep it in mind for the remainder of the season. And again, a couple of notable dates. There still is a big stakes day coming up.
Yeah, October 4th, we have the return of the Canadian International. Yes, it's on the inner, but again, very happy to have a world-class mile-and-a-half race.
And you wrap things up about mid-December.
Yeah, right into the heart of the winter time. Mm-hmm. So, some chilly days, but again, some good racing all the way through December.
Right. Again, appreciate all the hospitality and always like to come up here. And again, it was a great day yesterday, great weather. We were sitting out in the Stella Artois area, which is relatively new. There's also some cabana type things down on the rail now that's new. And on a day like yesterday, it was really a summer-like day. It was just a great place to watch and enjoy the races. So all of that is available. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, again, I'm going to do a little handicapping. We'll kick things into Racing Across America officially at about 9:15 with Ron Geerkink. Greg Peacock will also join us, so stay tuned.
코리아컵 출발합니다.
이 순간을 위해 여기까지 달려왔다. 이제 내일을 향해 뛴다.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
Welcome back to, as I say, a little blended Handicappers Report and Racing Across America. We'll get into some handicapping now. Trying to see if I can make a little bit more of a dent than yesterday. Well, it was a mixed bag yesterday. Had some winners, certainly some horses in the mix got it done for us, and that had a little bit of value. A couple of them had the Josie Carroll horse in the mix, I don't know, second or third slot. But again, that was just kind of a crazy price on that one. People complain about the CAWs and how they take value away. If you look around, you can still find some value here and there. I thought the Josie horse, again, was one of those examples. But as I say, if you picked up the one-sheeter watch yesterday, well, again, Pete Fornatel had a couple of nice, awesome bourbon. Pete liked that one in the, I think it was the finale yesterday. So hopefully you got some good ideas. Again, for me, it was a little bit of a mixed bag, but we'll see what we can do on the Sunday card up here at Woodbine. The opener today, conditional claimers going 6.5 furlongs. I have it 5, 1, 2, and 4. Big Baby Henry on top. Comes in off a nice win when moved back to the synthetic last time at essentially the same level, 14 to 15 claimers, N2L. Now it's an N3L, given the horse won last time. But again, I don't think this is a big leap. And a horse comes in good form. I could see going back to back. Cabernado in the second slot. This one comes in off a little bit of a poor effort, but was claimed, is the claim going to be beneficial? I'm not really looking at a move either way from trainer to trainer. But you look before the last race, this horse was running decently, in a relative fashion compared to this bunch. So I'm looking to maybe bounce back to that with the move to the new barn, just a little wake up and as I say, maybe a rebound. Third slot, we'll go with Crucial Taunt, who, like the top pick, comes in good form, and such good form that was just behind the top pick last time. So kind of if I like that one off the win, this one in the near miss has to be included as well. So second race today, or first race today, 5, 1, 2, and 4. Second race this afternoon, we are looking at optional claimers, non-winners at 2, 1.16 miles on the grass. 3, 1, 6, and 4. Philip My Wine on top, Marquesi runner. Clearly up here, you have to watch anything Mark sends out, hitting at a high percentage as usual up here at Woodbine. Hasn't been seen since the end of August. Well, I mean, it's not that long. The end of August to now, it's really a pretty quick turnaround in this day and age. Gets Pietro Moran on board, the apprentice who is leading the jockey colony. So again, this one comes off a good effort for Mark. Fairly quick turnaround, as I say, so makes some sense there. Second slot, we'll look at Weller Green. Nice win last time off a relatively long layoff, November until July. The comebacker was not only very good, it was a lifetime best buyer. And this is the kind where you look for, is there a potential bounce? But again, that was the end of July. So I think this horse has had enough time to kind of recuperate and maybe put a couple together. And then in the third spot, here I go, relatively lightly raced runner. What we've seen so far has shown some flashes. Start number 2, start number 3 were pretty good. Was in a stakes race last time, not so much, but gets back to a more proper level this afternoon. So in the second, 3, 1, 6, and 4. Third race today, maiden optional claimer with the C condition. They will travel 3/4 mile. 3, 1, 4, and 6 for me. In the third, I will use Time Zapper on top. Comes in, again, relatively lightly raced. The whole field relatively lightly raced, but this one with 3 starts. And they've been okay. They're not knocking it out of the park. They're okay relative to this bunch. But again, given what we're looking at, I think this horse is absolutely a player in here. The numbers, as I say, don't jump off the page, but in this bunch, they kind of jump off the page with this bunch. So we'll use that one on top, but with some trepidation. Not a care in the second slot. Debut effort really wasn't much, but got some experience out of that and then fired a nice bullet workout last time. So a 2-year-old with a bullet workout that looks pretty good time-wise. I again, with the experience under the belt, it wasn't great, but it counts. So we'll put Not a Care in the mix. And then in the third slot, Reload Raleigh, who ran behind Corsia Veloce in the career debut. Got off slowly that day and just really was never in the hunt. But you have to wonder if maybe that's not a little bit of a key race, perhaps from early in July. We'll give this one another shot, given what we saw yesterday from that winner of the debut effort. So the 4 also in the mix in the third race today at Woodbine. 3-1, 4, and 6. Fourth race this afternoon, we are looking for optional claimers, starter allowance types that will be going 9 furlongs, and I have it in the fourth, 2, 7, 5, and 1. Fenor on top. Irish bred comes in off a couple of nice second place finishes against fairly similar. So seems to have found the comfort zone class-wise and is running well. I'll put Fenor on top. Second slot, we will go to Rapture Bay. Has some early speed, gets the outside post position, going to be able to see how things are shaking out. And with the early speed, I would think this one will be well met from the get-go and might take them all the way around. There are a couple other horses that maybe have a little bit, occasionally flash, but I think the speed of the speed, maybe Rapture Bay. And if this one gets away and gets an early lead early, I may kick myself that I didn't use that one on top. And in the third slot, we'll go to number 5, Lobby Bar. Comes in off some efforts that last couple weren't much, frankly. But 3 starts back was an okay second. That was on the turf. The last 2 were on the synthetic, so you have to question the surface. Except if you go a little further down the page, there are some okay efforts on the synthetic as well. So upshot is I'm kind of, looking to rebound to prior efforts because the last 2 aren't good enough, obviously. And we're 6-1 on the morning line. Off the last 2, I'd want at least that before I jumped in. But I do think Lobby Bar is a player if we can rebound to a better effort. 2, 7, 5, and 1 in race number 4. Race number 5 this afternoon, another optional claimer starter allowance. They will travel 7 furlongs in the 5th, 2, 8, 6, and 9. I'm going to put Elusive Knight on top. Third place finish in the latest effort with a buyer figure that is the best so far this year. So again, comes in what might be improving form off a decent try last time. I don't jump into this with a lot of confidence, but mildly tilt in the direction of number 2, Elusive Knight. Second slot, we will take a look out at number 8, Silent Miracle. Another one of those horses potentially with some early speed. It's a little bit off and on when the speed is shown and when not. Last time showed it, the 2 races before that, not so much. You go further down the page, though, again, does tend to show some speed more often than not. Gets the leading rider, the apprentice on board, Moran, and I think is well spotted in here to put in a very good effort against this bunch with that early speed, hopefully. And then Can You Hear Me Running in the third spot. Comes in off a 7th place finish last time, but that was off a series of improving efforts. And that was a race where I would have expected this one to maybe jump forward a little bit more, but went off at 23-1 that day. So maybe it was up against it a little bit with that particular field. Ran third 2 starts back, though, at 66-1. So we'll see what we get today odds-wise, but I think on a better effort, like the race we had 2 back, the 6 absolutely belongs in the mix. In the 5th, I have a 2, 8, 6, and 9. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll complete our look at the card this afternoon here at Woodbine, including a couple of Ontario-bred stakes races. And then, again, a little bit later on, we'll kick into racing across America. Ron Geerkink, Greg Peacock, all of that right after this. Stay tuned.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
You know the time is now. What you waiting for? The time is now. Hear us knocking at the door. The time is now. Do you want to give them more when the time is now? You've seen the rest now. You want the best when the time is now.
The 2025 Global Symposium on Racing. It's the premier networking event of the year. Connect with the who's who of racing. Collaborate face-to-face with key decision makers. Be a part of the international conversation. Discover the latest technology and innovation. Join us December 8th through 10th. Register at racingsymposium.com.
Welcome back again. We are live from Woodbine and really enjoying the weekend as we normally do when we're up here. Obviously, yesterday was the highlight, but again, nice stakes action a little bit later on the card today as well with some Ontario bred stakes. We'll hit on those in just a moment, but should be a fun day. And you can't see it. Well, I guess you can see it a little bit on the side of the screen. It's a nice day out here. Sun's out, and I think it's going to be another nice day up here. Yesterday was gorgeous. It's very summer-like, and it's still summer technically. We're in September, but I think we're going to get more of the same today. Sixth race this afternoon. They're on the turf for maiden special 2-year-olds, 3, 5, 2, and 4. I will go with Lennox the Gray on top. Catherine Day Phillips, trainee. Saw Catherine in the paddock yesterday. We typically go over and catch her on the backstretch, and Friday we were kind of bouncing around and didn't get a chance to go over and talk to her, but I did get a chance to say hello in the paddock. Always good to see Catherine. But Lennox the Gray comes in off a kind of a troubled trip in the debut, but the number relative to this group was pretty good. I'm going to give that one another shot at 10-1 on the morning line. Hernandez on board, one of the leading riders up here perennially. So I will go with Lennox the Gray for a little bit of a price in the 6th. We'll use Spite's Will in the 2nd slot. Tried Stakes Company last time and just missed. Still a maiden. 3rd in a maiden, 2 races back. But again, just missed when tried Stakes Company. I like the confidence the connection showed. And this one's 10-1 on the morning line. So we got a couple of prices that I think are logical players in here. 3rd spot, we'll go with Thundermaker. Kevin Attard, trainee, that comes in off 2 nice 3rds against Maiden Special Company. So logically a player as well with the connections and what we've seen so far. In the 6th, 3, 5, 2, and 4. As noted earlier, there's some Ontario bred stakes action. The Victorian Queen, race number 7, 6.5 furlongs. I have a 5, 3, 7, and 2. In the 7th, we'll go a Sipping History on top. Jamie Begg, trainee, and he's had a number of starters up here this year and has done okay with the relatively limited number of Woodbine starters when he's run these. And this one is one of those that added to that resume, breaking the maiden last time right here at Woodbine in one of those restricted maiden special races. But I think it's a square fit with this group in here, kind of, progressed, lifetime best buyer, 4th start of the career. Maybe the light bulb went on. I think the horse can put 2 together. Super Diva goes out off a effort last time that is going to tab this horse as potentially the one to beat. Broke the maiden 2 back, stepped into Stakes Company in the follow-up, and it was well beaten that day, frankly. But tried restricted Stakes Company last time and ran very, very well. So off the maiden breaker 3 back, but more importantly, the stakes win last time. As I say, Super Diva might wind up being the one to beat. And Pageant Queen in the 3rd slot was just behind Super Diva last time in Stakes Company and was in front of Super Diva 2 back with a 3rd place finish in an open stake. So again, they're both coming out of stakes performances that tab these horses as players in with this group in the Ontario bred stake. In the 7th, I have it 5-3, 7 and 2. More stakes action in the 8th, the Bull Page. Again, state breds, as it were, 6.5 furlongs in the 8th race, 4, 5, 2, and 1. We'll put Big, Bold, and First on top. Comes in with a couple of wins most recently, Maiden Breaker 2-back, and moved into stakes company last time. And again, you always have to appreciate the confidence that is shown. Although that said, these days with 2-year-old racing, sometimes your option is stakes company. There aren't necessarily a lot of those non-winners of 1, non-winners of 2 kind of things. But it's a nice resume when you can step out of the maiden company and then win a stake the next time out. Big, Bold, and First did that. Be the King comes in as a first-time starter, but comes in with a nice workout. And this one looks really interesting to me. In a field that, again, is, horses that have shown some flashes, but I don't think anybody is, a world beater in here necessarily. So I'll take a little pop with Be the King. And then Silver is best in the 3rd spot. Maiden Breaker was very good. Tried that stake behind Big, Bold, and First last time. Ran 6th. A good workout since. I'll look for the stakes experience last time to be beneficial. In the 8th, 4, 5, 2, and 1. 9th race this afternoon. We are looking at optional claimers, non-winners of 2. They're on the grass. 8.5 furlongs. In the 9th, I have it 8, 1, 6, and 9. I think the 11 is interesting. Should the weather turn right now, it doesn't look like main track only will be the situation. As I say, it's very sunny, but the 11, if things change, would be worth a look. But I'll put the 8 on top. Sultana comes in with good form for Kevin Attard. Hernandez on board, so potent connection, certainly. And what we've seen of this horse so far, broke the maiden debut. That's always impressive in and of itself, and subsequently 2 good efforts against limited winners. I think, again, square fit in here, good form, potent connections, makes sense. Texas Holiday in the 2nd spot. Maiden Breaker 2-back, tried this kind of company last time, led for a long way, and then just got caught. But again, having shown the early speed in the last 2, speed from the rail, could be very intriguing in here. But I think on the morning line, the second choice. So I don't think we're going to sneak anything by. The one that may offer a little value is number 6, Design, 10-1 on the morning line. Marty Drexler runner. Started the career in Kentucky for Riley Mott. First couple of starts weren't much. Then went to the synthetic, or followed up with a synthetic start at Turfway. Ran okay when moved in for a tag. That synthetic effort brought this horse up to Woodbine, albeit on the turf. And the horse did have a turf start down in Kentucky as well, but it was the first start of the career. But moving from the synthetic at Turfway to the turf at Woodbine, that proved the difference to get the Maiden Breaker. And again, we're back on the turf again today. At 10-1 Design, to me, looks intriguing. In the 9th, 8, 1, 6, and 9. 10th and final today at Woodbine, we are looking at optional claimers, non-winners of 2 lifetime, going a mile and a 16th. I'm 7, 6, 5, and 2. I'll put Got Me Good on top. 4th last time, but just a little over a length behind. 2 starts back, 2nd by about the same margin. So I think those last 2 are pretty comparable, and I think those are good enough to just tilt slightly towards this one. I think really the top 4 that I've used in here, frankly, are very similar. Yorkton's Honor in the 2nd spot off a nice Maiden Breaker when dropped in for a tag in the latest. It's actually an optional claimer group, but again, it was a class move from Maiden Specials, and that proved beneficial. And Time's a Breeze, 20-1 on the morning line. Last couple probably deserved that, but the race 3 back says to me this horse could be interesting. Another one of the interesting horses on the card at a price. So in the 10th and final, it's going to go off about 10 after 6 this evening. I have it 7, 6, 5, and 2. All right, that gives you a little bit of a look. And again, you can also pull up the one sheet over on Capital. I'm not sure the one sheet is up yet, but it'll be up sooner rather than later over on capitalotb.com. We'll look at that. Also look at some of the racing down in New York today. And I'm thinking Brian Nadeau, his portion, he may have looked at Churchill today. So the one sheet has some various looks, including Woodbine. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll shift gears. As I say, we've been kind of doing a blended Handicappers Report and Racing Across America, but we'll kick into Racing Across America formally right after the break. We'll be joined by Ron Gierkink, the Woodbine correspondent for the Daily Racing Forum. Also, Greg Peacock will join us, one of the clockers up in the press box when we come up every visit. Always like to talk to Greg. So all of that coming up right after this. Stay tuned.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.